probably
Of course
a
it is.
decent reel, yeah.
That's how it is. We just chat.
Yeah, no, 100%. We were just saying that even on camera, like I'm being filmed today. I hate it when it's staged.
No,
As in,
yeah.
you just
Natural.
Yeah, I actually find even with content in general, when you're trying to do purpose-made reels, there's a bit of inauthenticity to that because you're like, I've got to say the first thing in the first 3 seconds to get the hook.
Yeah.
And I've only got 30 seconds to say what I need to say, and that's why I prefer long-form content, whether it's podcasts or YouTube, talking live, webinars, which, just conversations like this in general.
We don't even need to do the introduction. You've just done it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So welcome back to Apollo.
Welcome home.
Yes. First ever gym.
That's
First
mad.
ever gym. 41 and 42 in September.
So when did you start? How long ago?
I first stepped through the doors of this gym, I believe, when I was 16.
So just left football?
I just left Woodlands School, and I was just about to start my I say apprenticeship, that's technically what it was, even though I signed as a young professional at Coventry.
Yep.
And in the interim, I think it was from finishing school to then ready to start your 3 years at Coventry. That's when I first came to the gym with Adam Smith, who's still my best friend now.
Yeah.
He was the reason I came to the gym with him. We hit it off by playing football against each other. He played for, I think it was Carnell Newman. I played for Woodlands, and we beat them in a final. And I remember putting my hand on his chest when I was marking him at a corner. And honestly, I didn't know him at the time. And I remember put my hand on his chest, and I was literally like, fucking hell. Literally, like, this was in the middle of a cup final, which we won, by the way. I remember putting my hand on my chest. I thought, what the fuck is that? I've never seen a 16-year-old, with that chest. And we had some banter from there, hit it off. And then we became friends, exchanged numbers. And then just before I started at Coventry, he said, do you want to go to the gym? And I'd always loved the idea of having a great body.
Yeah.
And wanting to feel good about my body. So even though I knew I wanted to be a footballer, I'd always thought I want to be a footballer with a good body.
You were disciplined. I remember you from football.
Yeah.
From Cov. And I
Yeah,
remember you being,
what age did we play together?
I was younger. I was a year younger, I think, potentially.
Yes.
And I remember you were like the Gary Neville. Yeah. You were the discipline.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
No, I don't think it is. But in terms of discipline.
I'd like to think I had a little bit more talent than Gary Neville at that time. Even though
you were consistently almost like skipper, like captain.
Yeah.
I remember from then.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see you for years. And then I remember seeing you, I must have been like 5 years on, 6 years on, I can't even remember when it was. And you were out somewhere with some guys. And the shape of you had changed so dramatically. You'd obviously fell in love with the gym and proper got into shape. And it was like, shit, what happened? Like,
no, I get it. So, coming back to what you originally asked me, but I thought it's important to have some context. I came to this gym when I was 16, not having a clue what I was doing. And like most guys who want a good body at that point, all you think about is chest and biceps.
Whatever you can see.
Whatever you can see, the beach muscles. But yeah, I always wanted a good body. And like I just said, I always want to be a good footballer with a good body. But then when I went to Coventry, there was a lot more emphasis, of course, on trying to optimise your skills to become a better footballer, your tactical awareness, everything that comes with trying to be a professional footballer. So during that time, you could only really be in the gym a couple of times a week in terms of picking up weights.
Yeah.
But whenever I could, I would. So there's only so big you could get because you'd lose all the athleticism.
Yeah.
If you tried to get too muscly, and looking back now, it's totally unfunctional to carry too much muscle, especially the way we trained back then, or I picked up weights back then.
Yeah.
So it was like a handicap on how I could look to some degree as a footballer.
Yeah.
But I knew when I first came through the doors at Apollo, I just loved pushing myself in the gym. And I've said this previously, I liked the fact that with the gym, if you pick weights up a certain way, get progressively stronger, and we'll talk about nutrition on a separate point, and eat your protein, it's quite predictable that your body's going to change.
Yeah.
All right, looking back, I didn't have a clue about how to do it properly, how to do it efficiently, but I just knew if you pick weights up, you got stronger, and you were consistent with that, your body's going to change. So when I eventually left Coventry at 20, which we can unpack, it literally destroyed me, because you've got this whole expectation from the age of 6 or 7 when I realised I'm pretty good at this from an early age.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a footballer.
Forever.
Yeah, you've been there, right? And it can, when you attach your whole identity to being a footballer, it's took away. You're like, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to when I got released by Gary McAllister, I walked up that training ground, and you're just internally broken.
Yeah.
Even though at that time I tried to have this mask on that I wasn't broken, I certainly was, and nothing can prepare you for that.
Yeah.
Especially at 20.
Yeah.
And during that period, certainly from the age of 20 to 26, the obvious thing looking back was to either get some trials at some of the football clubs
back in. Yeah.
and just go, you know what, don't give up because you've had one knockback.
Yeah.
Or get into coaching, get into personal training, because the two things I love were football and going to the gym.
Yeah.
You think, why didn't I at least pursue one of those two things when I got released? But I actually folded the first time I get told in my life I'm not good enough. It literally stripped me of any internal confidence I had.
Mm-hmm.
So it was sort of like I suppressed that part of my life. Certainly on the football side, it was like overnight, my heart had been ripped out of football. That's my time in football done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my time in football done. And even from a personal training or coaching standpoint, I think the reason I didn't go into that as well was it wasn't really seen as a career at that point. It wasn't really seen as something that was aspirational, or that was going to make loads of money, or give you the life that you wanted. So retrain as a plumber, a gas engineer.
Yeah, I remember you doing
completely lacked purpose, because I'd gone from this thing, football, which gave me purpose, to overnight plumbing, which didn't give me purpose, wasn't meeting my needs. But the one area of my life I still had control with, or I felt I could create certainty and meet my needs in some way positive, was in the gym.
Yeah.
So I would say when I left Coventry, anything I felt I couldn't do in terms of building a great physique because of football, because you needed to be mobile and fast and fit, I thought, right, now I'm just going to get a great body, and because that's something I can control, because I think there were so many areas of my life I couldn't control, that the one area of life I could control was consistency in the gym.
Your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Haswell and Pack, that was all surface level stuff, and that doesn't last.
So that was what, from 20 to 26?
20 to 26, yeah.
You know,
so,
at that point there, Kirk, it's like where you're saying that you've got released and kind of you're broken and you obviously realise you had a mask on. What point at that, what impacted role models, people around you, your circle, what impact did that have on you?
Well, it's everything I preach about now, that there's nothing for me week to week, month to month, year round, that's going to influence your behaviour, your beliefs, and what you think is possible with your mind, with your body, than who you spend time with. But the problem was I'd gone from a high perform.
Sorry,
it's okay. The problem was I'd gone from a high performance environment in a professional, in a professional space at Coventry, where you're around professional footballers, world class coaches, elite level strength and conditioning, all that stuff. You've gone from that, where when you're in that environment, you can't take your foot off the pedal.
Yeah, of course.
So as much as I might not have made it,
live and breathe it.
As much I might not have made it, one thing I always was when I was at Coventry was I was always the hardest training player. I was always, I'm sure I was one of the fittest, if not the fittest, at the football club. Even the first.
We said this. We said this on camera.
I was always fit. I was always consistent, and I think because I was in that environment, that just forced you to be even more consistent. Even if some days, like everyone else, I wasn't motivated, but you'd still be consistent.
Why were you like that though? Where did that come from?
Motivation.
As in, like the determination to be that guy, to be the guy front of pre-season, to be that guy. Because you were that guy.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I know where that comes from, and I've unpacked this, and this is why I think the personal development side of things, the emotional development of people, is so important, but often quite neglected. That comes from, the age of 6. I'd had knee issues from the age of 3 to 6, where I had like this weird form of arthritis. I can't remember exactly. My mum knows the exact term, but my knees were a mess from the age of 3 to 6. From the age of 3 to 6, I was in and out of this thing called plaster and parish. I was in and out of the hospital. And I remember seeing a specialist at the age of 6 with my mum, and I can picture it now. I'm in this room. It's like a doctor's room, and he knew I loved football, but my knees were bad. And I remember him saying to me and my mum, the only sport you're going to be able to do is swim, not football.
No weight bearing.
Nothing weight bearing. Nothing explosive. So
and that's at 6.
It's at the age of 6. So it's weird how you remember these things. Like this is, all of us have traumatic moments that shape who we are, our beliefs and what we believe we're capable of. And in that moment, I didn't know it back then because it's subconsciously you're thinking that, and then it influences what you do on the front end. I believe I decided in that moment I'm going to prove him wrong. And I think there's a pro and a con to that, by the way, right? But I decided I'll prove this guy wrong. And within a year, I remember whatever I did, I remember rebuilding myself. I was out with this plaster and parish finally, and I remember winning I remember a year after that, and I think it made the paper because they used to have these games called Coventry Godiva Games. It was like these athletic things at Canley, the track at Canley.
Yeah.
And I won a 400-metre race by 100 metres, which is ridiculous when you think back. And this was a year after someone had told me the only sport you'll be able to do is
Swim.
And you've just won a 400-metre race by 100 metres. And there's a picture, that my dad's still got to think of me raising my arm. But I think that was the first moment that I remember that I had determination and courage to go, whatever anyone says I can't do, I have the resilience and the mindset and the courage to show people that I can do this.
Yeah.
But so I think that's where the consistency of, if I just apply myself and work hard, no matter what knockbacks or whatever else is going on, if I just keep doing that, then you'll be okay.
You get somewhere.
But the disadvantage of that is, if you are constantly doing something that you feel you need to do to please someone else, then there's a lot of pain that comes with that too, because it's exhausting if you're constantly going, I need to train hard, I need to run fast, I need to win all the time to seek validation and to prove these people wrong that, let's be real here, deep down, other people don't give a fuck anywhere near as much as what you think they are.
Of course they don't.
So it was a double-edged sword. I'd say from an early age, I was very determined. I'd be the kid at school that was always winning, cross-country, athletics. Generally, you're the best at football in all your teams. Then, of course, when you come to Coventry, everyone's great. And the margins are small. Everyone's the best player in their local team or their local city. And that's where a lot of it comes down to your belief systems. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping shift people's belief now, because I know deep down, in Coventry, during those 3 years, when I trained with the reserves, but also when I trained with the first team, there was something internally that I lacked in terms of belief that held me back from really being brave enough to demand the ball, the higher up you got. And also if you give the ball away, to not care, just brush it off and to not put people on a pedestal. Yeah. And also another part of my story was at 13, I turned down Manchester United. I was obsessed with Manchester United. Who turns down Man United when you got Sir Alex Ferguson, you got Cantona? It was when United were United, and I turned them down and signed for Coventry I got a professional contract at 13, and I thought that was a safe option. I thought I was guaranteed because yes, exactly, because it's only Coventry. Right, with the greatest respect to Coventry. 7 years later, I'll get released in a 30-second conversation. Karen McAllister, go up to his office, 6'5" international Scotland player, and he says to me, "You're not good enough."
Been there.
So yeah, you've been there, and so that, and then turning down Manchester United, and so I suppose turning down Manchester United and taking the safe option and not being brave enough to really demand the ball, not care about these first teamers that are more established. The biggest thing that let me down was belief system and imposter syndrome and putting people on a pedestal.
But you say let you down. I see those things as like everything works out for a reason.
Yes. Yeah.
Like karma will always come round.
Yeah.
Like these things didn't work out for whatever reason. You're on your own path. In a different way.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't not fail at football but didn't follow through with football, same as myself, you wouldn't be where you are now.
100%. But you don't see it back then.
Of course
you don't see it back then. No one told me that at 20. That guess what, Kirk? Those moments where you've failed are going to be the greatest lessons.
Yeah.
And also fast track your awareness of the importance of belief systems and your internal as well as your external. If you didn't go through those moments, then I wouldn't be so passionate about helping people solve those scenarios.
Yeah. But you have to go through them to solve them.
You do, but no one tells you that at 20. There was no guidance. There was no one saying, Kirk, this is going to be one of the greatest lessons of your life. I'm dealing with rejection and bouncing back and also questioning who you are. Because everything in life comes down to who you are from an identity perspective. And a lot of people do things because they're trying to meet the needs of other people's. needs, and also they're trying to live their life in accordance to how they think other people should live
Not
your
for
life,
them.
and also what you think your parents would be proud of you doing. So amazing lessons, absolutely, but you don't see it back then, because for 6 years minimum, until I won that men's health competition where everything changed,
That was when you're on front cover, wasn't
yeah,
it?
but I was just lost, right? So that's why I know a lot of people in this gym and people watching this who go to gyms are going, I want to build this body to build this confidence, and then I'm going to be okay. Yes, that gives you some armor, and let's not pat that down. It's super important if you want genuine confidence and you want to feel good within yourself. You're telling lies if you would not feel better if you picked up some weights and you felt good about your physical
You
shape.
look better.
100%, right? Externally, it affects how you feel internally, but you've got to do the work internally as well. It's not enough, because I was the guy from 20 to 26 who had that body, but was still all over the shop internally.
Yeah.
And when there's a gap in how you feel versus how you want to feel, and your internal self-worth is super low, that's going to affect your emotions. And when your emotions feel a certain way, that's going to influence your thoughts and your beliefs, and your beliefs and your thoughts shape your habits and your behavior. So even though you might have an area of control in your life in the gym, and you can control your food and your training, but I promise you this, if you aren't emotionally content with how you feel, you are going to be self-destructing in other areas of your life, whether you know it or not, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's
Social.
excessive drink and drugs
yeah.
and porn, or just something you feel you can't control yourself with. And there's no judgment on that, because I've done some stupid shit, where
A lot of the stuff you're talking about is essentially redirection. You've been redirected on many occasions to get to where you got to get to. So it's like you go through, so you grow through what you go through, but you grow through that to get to where you got to get. So now, like, you've gone from being an absolute animal on the football pitch to being an absolute godsend in the gym, to being essentially like a young man's mentor, a men's health cover model. Who doesn't want to do that when they're younger? Then from there, you've taken it one step further, which is what we were talking about outside. You haven't just thought, okay, cool, I want to PT you to make you look great. You genuinely have. You've elevated yourself to a different level. I would say you're one of the most successful PTs that I've heard of. I don't want to call you a PT. I think that's pretty disrespectful.
It's coach.
Yeah, you're now a personal developer. You develop people's lives. You enhance people's lives. What was that step? So something must have happened there to say, okay, no, I'm moving out of Cobb. I'm going to London. I want to stop changing people's lives. So I want to start changing people's lives. It's not just about making their body strong. Let me go to this. And it'd be good for actual personal trainers, which are doing it now, to understand not only what it took, from on a day to day, because you are a very disciplined guy. What was the mental shift? What drove you to do that? Because you are driven. So what drove you to do that?
It's a brilliant question. I think you get certain moments in your life and certain moments in your coaching journey where you come across a scenario or a situation that you feel you do not have the tools to help someone overcome a certain problem. Because if you think about coaching, transformation, you're trying to take someone from being in pain and having problems they can't solve to being out of pain, to having solutions that overcome those problems, so they transform, not just short term but long term.
So it's sustainable,
Yes. But the truth is, and I think this is where a lot of coaches, PTs are short-sighted and get complacent or just naive like I was. When you first start transforming people in the gym, you teach them how to train well, you give them the diet or teach them how to eat well. They need to move, go to bed on time, sleep. They're called your core drivers to transform someone. If it was that simple, why isn't half the world healthier? Why is it that so many people who do a transformation fall backwards? And that happened to me multiple times when I first started personal training people. You'd do the 12 weeks, the 16 weeks, the 8 weeks, and then they'd revert backwards, if not worse. When that happens a few times, you need to look at yourself and go, what is the problem here? And it's easy to go, it's the client, they're not sticking to their plan. But as I started evolving into the personal development world and being fascinated by this subject and emotions and beliefs and all that stuff, you start realizing I do not have the skill set to really help someone change long term. And I just realized that the minimum requirement for a personal trainer or a coach, in my opinion, is to teach them how to train well, eat well, sleep, get your steps in, all that stuff. But then I realized, I thought, if I'm going to be different, what do I need to learn, and who do I need to become as a person and a coach? And I just looked at it quite logically and went, right, if there are millions of trainers out there that can teach people how to train and get 3 more reps out in the gym, okay, that's one box tick, but that's the minimum requirement. How can I be different?
Baseline standard.
How can I be different? So I always had a fascination for shifting people's beliefs, and I think I was naturally pretty good at that because I was captain of most football teams, and so I always had a good gift, I think, of saying the right thing at the right time, because everyone's different, right? They learn differently, they respond differently, you've got different personality types. So I always had a good natural gift of that, but I thought, I want to learn the skills of this, so I'm not winging it or just relying on your gut instinct, even though that is super powerful, and rapport, which we'll come on to. But I just thought, how can I upgrade my skills and become more valuable as a coach and a person? So that's when I started going even deeper into the personal development side of things and looking at great people in that space, Tony Robbins, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and since Brendan Burchard, and we've got an emotional wellbeing expert, for example, now, who's upskilling our Built to Last team, for example. So I just said, how can I become more valuable? And I thought, if I can understand and articulate on a granular level around beliefs, around emotions, around shifting identity, and also understanding people on a personal front, not just a physical front, you put that with all your training, stimulus, acumen, and your nutrition.
The full package.
Straight away, not full package, hear me out on this, because this is how obsessed I am. That's another part of the puzzle, and it helps me become more valuable. And if you become more valuable, I can influence someone's behavior, physique, and mind and identity better than other people, or better than I was currently doing. Then you start getting better transformations. And then you start realizing the words that are coming out of people's mouth when you've transformed them is, it's not just, oh, Kurt's helped me drop 20 pounds of body fat. He's changing my life and how I think. Okay. So that's one thing. But the reason that happened is I was fully aware, and this is where people need to take more responsibility as a coach and a PT, that if you come across a situation where you've got someone you're working with, and you get to a point where you're like, I don't know what to do. Don't bullshit yourself and think you've got all the answers. A lot of people, when they're personal training or they're coaching, they're like, they think they have to have all the solutions and they know it all. Or they think just because they know how to get themselves in shape themselves, that what's worked for them will work for someone else. And it's not like people come from different backgrounds, they've different traumas, they've got different things that have happened in their life that have shaped their beliefs, their habits, their behavior, and how far they think they can go with that transformation. So I've had no ego with that. Certainly as I've got older, I think, what do I need to learn, or who do I need to reach out to that can possibly improve my skills to help this person or help people at scale transform longer? So that's what I've done, but I've just been very aware of the signs of, shit, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, what do I need to learn? And then on top of that, what I've also done, and this all requires time, money, investment, right? You know what it takes to build a business. There's a lot of delayed gratification. But one thing I've done in respect to a lot of the coaches in PTs in Coventry, with respect, I've invested in myself. Put my money where my mouth is. I've invested in myself, even if I think I'm ever going to get the return on that. And I've not been scared to learn off people that were better than me in different acumens of personal development and coaching. So I've had some great mentors. And then on top of that, one thing I've done in the last, I first went to a public speaking course, when was it? Maybe literally 8 years ago, if not longer. And that taught me a lot initially about, there's one thing knowing what to say, but there's another knowing how to say it.
Yeah, it's massive.
Right? So that was my first taste of how well can I communicate to make that message land with intent, emotion, and understanding from the client that I'm trying to communicate with. But over the last 4 or 5 years in particular, I work one-on-one with a world-class communication coach. People might think, what's that got to do with transforming someone physically, emotionally? Again, you're just more thorough and you're more precise with what you say and how you say it. Because remember this, there's one thing knowing what to say around training, nutrition, movement, food, mindset, all these different things that can help people transform. But knowing how to say it, it's going to connect with that person emotionally. It's so powerful. So I've spent absolutely thousands on a world-class communication coach just because I want to be emphatic when I speak at scale and just impact as many people as possible. And you're going to do that if you communicate clearly. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. You'll hear on this podcast, sometimes I speak too fast still, but you look back years ago when I'm like, it's
development.
It's development. But
I think that's important though, because if you come across too trained, too coached, too thorough, you lose your authenticity.
Yeah, of course, and you lose that the commentary.
Yeah, exactly. So like you got someone, for example, like David Goggins, who is as brutal as it comes, in your face, effing and blinding every 2 seconds. And you got someone as good as Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, people along the lines of that. Zig Ziglar, which will literally speak to you on so many different levels. But a lot of people, again, don't relate to them. So it's not about essentially for yourself going out to the mass market. You have an amazing niche of, from what I've seen just this morning, business-minded people who you have developed into business-minded people. So you've got a normal person who's just come to you and thought, okay, great. I want to get into good physical condition, and like you've just said a second ago, they've taken all of them aspects that you have taught them because you've surrounded yourself through a real good network of people, and they've then applied that into their lives to elevate not just their businesses, not making them into public successes and private failures. You've also made them better people.
Well, that's what it's all about, because most people who start working with me, they'll have a surface level goal a lot of the time where I want to drop 20 pounds of fat, I want to look better, I want to feel better. I want to know why. How will your life get better? Every single person has a unique set of values that are important to them. From my experience, most entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, etc., that we work with, many of their values across the board will be they want to provide financial freedom for their family. They love business. They love their children. They love their personal relationships. Ultimately, they're looking for freedom. So what we are very, very good at and what we're continually evolving with is how will what we teach them and the transformation they create within Built to Last improve the quality of their life in the areas of life they value most. And they have to link to that. So if you can make a client understand or get clear on what's their vision in life, what are their values, what's the emotional driving force behind doing what they do, that is absolutely essential if someone's going to change. They have to know, how will this transformation improve my life in the areas of life they value most, and how will it move me towards faster the vision I have for my life, whether it's financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on a relationship front. And when you can articulate that to a client, or get them, more importantly, clear on, this is my vision, this is my values, this is the why behind it, and now I'm going to learn the skills to improve my eating, my training, my movement, my mindset by filling my own cup or being a certain person. Now I've got more chance of meeting that vision in the other areas of life. And
it's more sustainable, isn't it?
That's what's key. But you compare the dots, because a lot of people fall off the wagon with their health and fitness, not because they don't know what to eat or how hard they should train or how much they should move. They've just forgot how this affects their core values and the people in their life that they are doing it for. A lot of people, when they first join, you say to them, okay, other than actually looking a certain way, why are you doing this? Majority of people, they were parents. I want to be a better role model for my kid. I want my kid to be healthy. I want to live longer. If they're a business man or woman, I want to make more money. I want more energy at work, more output, more productivity. I want to lead better. They forget that when they're a month or two into the journey, because old habits die hard.
Yeah, of course.
Belief systems are conditioned over and over again. People develop patterns that they've grew up with, and it's very, very hard to break a pattern that's been conditioned over and over
Years.
and over
Yeah.
again. But the good news is, if you conditioned a pattern, you can decondition that pattern and create a new one if you are aware of these patterns. And that's where I just think, if people are really trying to become, or coaches are trying to get even better these days, develop yourself even more than just, here's your training plan, get your steps in, go to bed on time. You can get that off AI and ChatGPT now, okay?
Yeah,
I
of
really
course.
believe the way the coaching world is going, and we've been working on this stuff a hell of a long time, thank God, is you need to understand what it takes to shift someone's identity. Now, helping someone change physically is a large part of that. Let's not pat that down.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love mindset, I love beliefs. But when you change how you feel about how you see yourself physically, that does something to you internally,
does.
right?
That's it, yeah.
Why do you think a lot of people have tattoos, Botox, want a fancy haircut, right? Yeah, they are doing that because in some way, if they change their perception of how they physically see themselves, and then they get comments and positive attention and acceptance. Hey, love your tattoos. Oh, look at your skin. Look at your lips. I'm not saying don't do that. But if again you are, that's really good on one part, because that might be the kickstart you need to create momentum. That if I look after myself or present myself in a certain way, I'm going to be accepted. I'm going to feel confident.
Yeah.
But if you are someone who is relying on those external comments to feel good, as in like I did, right? Right. I knew when I left Coventry, then I'm in the gym for those 6 years. Like you said, you see me a few years after we stopped playing football,
Changed
and you
completely.
look at my shape and you're like, wow. Looking back then, Ryan, I sort of relied on those comments for my confidence and way of being significant and important, and I suppose status of going, Kirk, look at Kirk's shape, look at his abs. That was sort of what you're known for, and you're getting your confidence cut from that. But then if I didn't have that dopamine hit of look at your body, look at your abs, I didn't know, I didn't value myself, I didn't have the emotional confidence, and I was relying on people saying that, which is great. And anyone who says they don't like nice comments said about their physique or how they look or what car they've got or just anything on the external is full of shit, right?
Bullshit.
But it's exhausting if you're relying on that, because there's a big difference between liking that and accepting that with gratitude than needing that to feel good. And I needed that from the age of 20 to 26, and I would argue till 30, even at expos, you know, when I was at Grenada, my protein, you're on all the front covers, I still relied on that to feel important. But then you get to a point where it's quite empty and soulless. And to get even deeper than that, right, there's no fluff or bullshit with me. That affected me in personal relationships. Because I get with someone, you'd feel confident when you first meet them because you've got the body, you feel good, you're on the covers. And then when you're into that relationship, because you're not sure of who you are and you're not as emotionally confident with what you present on the external, every relationship, whether it's a personal or a professional relationship, will test you at some point where something doesn't quite feel right, and it tests you whether or not you're going to stay true to your core of your authentic self, where you're going to be brave with who you are or try and adapt yourself to fit in to make that relationship work. And that's what I did, because I didn't do the inner work. Do you understand? So then all of a sudden you start changing who you are to try and be compatible in that relationship or that friendship or that business relationship. But deep down, because you haven't done the inner work, your self-worth isn't what it needs to be. And then the problem is, Vibe attracts tribe, and what you put out, you attract. If your self-worth internally is 3, 4, 5 out of 10 or lower, you're only going to be able to attract someone on that level, or you're not going to be brave enough to walk away from a certain situation, whether it's a business relationship, a personal relationship. Does that make sense? I know that's pretty heavy and deep, but
no, it's what the eye see, the mind believes. So this is what I was always shown, or always told. So if you feel you look, if you think you look good, you're going to feel better. like you're saying there, you haven't done the work inside.
Yeah.
That's the most important part. You can't see what's actually going on inside. You can feel it, but if you don't know how to deal with the emotion, which is again what you're helping people do, is help them to not only deal with the emotion, you're helping them to understand, okay, it's all right to feel like that, but
Here's the tools to deal with.
Yeah, but if we can put a little bit more belief in you, okay, you know, you're looking good, you're performing good, but let's take you to the next level. And then when someone gets to the next level, they have a little bit more belief in themselves. And then all of a sudden, it goes from Kirk holding the hand to, Kirk, I just need you just to make sure you're touching my finger for a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I just want to feel you there. It's like when a kid's riding the bike. You know, you're holding them, you push them, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm doing it myself. And then you elevate the person.
That's a great point, because a lot of people might be listening to that thinking, okay, where do I go in terms of like developing that emotional confidence and that internal belief? And we haven't got enough time to unpack all of this on today's podcast, but I believe every single person at some point in their life has had a situation or a scenario where they didn't think they could do something, but they did. Cool. They pushed through it. Whether it's as a parent, and I'm a parent now, so I get it.
Yeah.
You come across a scenario that you've not faced and you think, can I actually do this? Right. And you always find a way, especially when it's for your kids or for someone that's really important. You will do whatever it takes, would you agree?
For your daughter.
To push through that limiting belief or that adversity, that self-doubt. And I believe if you've done it once, you can do it again and again and again. But people forget this, especially when it comes to, say, let's just relate this to a physical transformation. A lot of the time, it's a belief system that lets them down. But you push through limiting beliefs in your professional career, likelihood in your relationships, and with your children. If you've done it once, you can do it again. The key thing to do in that given moment, say, for example, in your transformation journey, if you're lacking, if you know that it's your limiting beliefs that are holding you back, think back to a scenario or a time where you had a limiting belief. What did you say? What did you do? What were the words internally and maybe externally that you said to yourself? It might be, I can do this.
The driving factor.
Exactly. I can do this. I'm enough. I keep pushing through this. I'm capable of anything.
You find a way.
Exactly. You know, so think back to those pivotal moments and think, who did you need to be in those moments where you stepped up as a dad, as a businessman, as a friend, whatever it was. Then put yourself in that state again, physically, emotionally, say the same words and push through. And that's where I think one of the most powerful things with physical training and the work you do in the gym, it's one of the fastest way to violate an emotional limiting belief. When you do something you didn't think was possible physically, when you push through that set that you didn't think you could do, you run that little bit faster, that does something to you internally, emotionally.
Without you even knowing this, and I know it's a little bit more of a lighthearted comment, you have given a gentleman here the utmost belief in his leg ability from what we were talking about outside. Deck Price. He now lives off that moment. He lives off that moment.
So just to give some context, right?
He knows that didn't be there.
He's funny. He's funny as fuck.
The
shite that would come out of his mouth when I used to personal train him every day. So he is that man. He's got a conveyor belt of bullshit.
But he genuinely he lives off that moment. Like, oh, there was a day when I out hacked or out squatted Kirk, and it's so good because it's like you said, from one set, he may have done one more rep than you. Chances are, he didn't do nothing.
You're not going to say to him and anyone else who has those moments where you've done something great, fucking do it again.
Yeah, that's it. Do it again. And now, but off the back of something so stupid, like you know, and in his, you wouldn't have even been bothered by it. You probably just got go do your next set. But off the back of something like that, giving someone confidence to carry it forward. Although he doesn't use it on a day-to-day, but you know. Okay, cool, I did it. I can do that again. You know, next time I might go squat 200 because, you know, 190 was easy. Like, you know, it's amazing what something so
little
simple can do.
Yeah.
It is. Sometimes you need to come across situations and people in your life. Like I've had people that have pushed me and coaches and mentors. And you said it earlier, no matter how good you are individually, no matter how strong-minded you think you are, how fit, fast, good-looking, whatever you think you are, smart when it comes to business, lean on the shoulders of giants, of people who have been there, got the t-shirt. Nothing will accelerate your life more than surrounding yourself with people who have habits, traits, behaviors that you want and would love to wire into your psyche and 100%. DNA if you want a better business, if you want to be better at business, go and speak to someone who's got a better business than you.
100%.
If you want to be someone with a great body, look at someone who's got proven track record of having a great body. Mirror what they do, mirror what they say, or at least look at the behaviours and the way they think, the way they operate, and take.
But you've got to be acceptable for all of that.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah,
but no one's that good; they can't learn. I mean, I'm lucky now that in Dubai, London, all around the world, I've got clients who are just incredibly successful. They've ticked the business box. They're generally great parents, great partners, but you know they're in our ecosystem and our program to improve themselves.
Yeah.
But these people have done great things in life that I haven't. So they've upgraded my standards in other areas and knowledge, right? So one thing that's really helped me is just putting myself in different environments and also learning off even the people that have invested in me and gone, what are they great at? Not being scared to ask questions of what they did and how they got to where they got to.
Of course.
And that's one thing I would say, just particularly to people from Coventry, because I genuinely think this holds people back, and I think it held me back for a few years. Don't be scared to break out of the environment of Coventry to make yourself better. I'm not saying you need to leave Coventry to get better, but don't be narrow-minded to think that you've got all the answers, because there's a lot of people in Coventry who would have come from a background I did, which was Stoke Aldermore Council Estate, that because they've come from that background, there's just something internally within them that is scared to test themselves in certain environments because that wasn't something they were accustomed to.
Unaware.
Within their council estate, for example, and nothing's going to accelerate your knowledge, your wisdom, and your hope for the future more than looking at people who have a future that you would love to have, or certain things in their life that you would love to experience, and just look at what they do. And I just look at it quite logically. If they can, I can.
Yeah. If it's been done before.
If they can, I can. If it's done before, then why can't you do it? So if you're
Exactly.
someone from Coventry and you're questioning it, you question yourself, going, can I push on in business? Can I be brave enough to take that career move? Can I be brave enough to step outside of my comfort zone? Look at the overriding evidence of success stories of people who have took that plunge. Not just me. I mean, for example, even on a business front, like the Allsop brothers, what they've done in Dubai, absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, connected and friends with them both now, and been fortunate enough to speak to their company. But the Allsop brothers, what they've done is exceptional.
In Dubai, they've done very well.
Who would say that those two boys, what they've done in Dubai on a business front, is just astronomical?
Yeah.
They are literally, the leading real estate brokers, and they just took a chance, and
They took the leap.
they weren't confined
Exactly.
by the fact that
Why
it
not?
might go wrong, and there's competitors and people from all different cities and countries that might be more affluent or might be more aspirational. They've just gone, fuck it, I'll burn the boat, and that's my mindset now.
It's one of the best things you can learn in business. People typically always think that you're confined to a city.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like Apollo Gym. Why do we get people come down here on the weekend from Doncaster? Or, what right have we got to pull a customer from Doncaster? It's because people want the environment. So instead of, it's one of the most fundamental lessons, don't think local, think national. They've gone one step further and thought, okay, cool, let's think international.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to travel. Absolutely. Don't be scared to travel. And
you'll learn more from outside than here.
100%. Don't be scared to travel. Like, sometimes it can be seen as a massive inconvenience when you're trying to go to a different gym, go to a different city. It's a pain in the arse.
It's not a different gym, always come here.
No. Listen, if you're in Coventry, there's no need to go to a different gym. It's a great gym. But look at any single area of your life that isn't where you want it to be, and think who, not how. Like, think, who do I need to reach out to? Where do I need to go? Where the chances of increasing my success in that given area are far more likely if I connect with that person, go to that place.
Put yourself in them situations, yeah.
100%. It's as simple as that.
How has life changed for you now that you're a dad?
Jeez.
Big change, isn't it?
It's a big change, yeah.
So you've just got one daughter?
I've got one daughter, yeah.
How old is she?
She's 5.5 months now.
Wow. Wow.
Gigi. Yeah.
Mate, if you call it Gigi.
Gigi, not
Gigi.
Gigi.
Oh,
Gabby will, she'll come for you, mate. If you call it Gigi, it's like some French dancer.
Lovely.
That Gabby always had a heart on.
5.5 months.
What's your best dad moment so far? How many best dad moments have you? Every day
It's
is
something you
different,
can't. And as much as you guys have said some nice things about the trainer I've become. Look, I'm 5.5 months into the apprenticeship of being a dad, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try and say I'm some guru in being a father, but it is a magical experience. And one thing I would say in my limited time as a father, the number one thing I've realised is being present and then feeling
Massive.
love and
So
attention.
thankful
They don't give a shit
No.
what your six pack looks like,
No.
how much money you've got, what people are saying about you. They don't care. They just feel love and attention.
She just wants dada.
They
course.
just feel love and attention. But I genuinely believe, and this is why I'm so obsessed with, in particular, helping parents become the best version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot give what you don't have. So as a parent, if you're lacking energy, you're lacking confidence, you're lacking belief, your child's going to feel that. Do you understand? They're going to feel that. I want my little girl, no matter what she goes up to do, to be confident and express herself and not be scared to pursue her dreams and so.
But you have to live by that example.
She has to see in her parents and myself. Okay, how does Daddy act? Of course, they need to be their own person. You need to be the shepherd rather than the conductor, so to speak. But
how does Daddy deal with a problem? That kind of thing, because then she'll use it when she has a problem.
100%. But the best moments, listen, that when they smile at you, it's just it literally melts your heart.
Watch when she starts crawling and moving.
It's just it's magical. It gives you a whole new level of perspective because I think look, you guys are running a business, right? And business can be hard sometimes, and you can get these stresses. One thing it has done, it just gives you a whole new level of perspective that whatever you're stressing about, whoever may have triggered you short term, when you've got that baby, you just think that's absolutely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things because am I really going to give the power of entrepreneurship, business, or that person control over me and my life when the people I love, that's all that matters. Do you know what I mean?
If you go home and Dad has got bad energy, Dad is going to reflect the bad energy on Gigi.
Yeah, which is why you need to look after yourself. Because
So
I got asked on a podcast yesterday. I did a podcast in Dubai, and someone asked me, "What if someone doesn't look after themselves, but they feel like they're really energized?" And I don't want to force my way on anyone. If someone's feeling great, and they don't go to the gym, and they're overweight, but they still feel good and energized, great.
Yeah.
But I would argue there's a party that's probably full of shit with how you actually feel, or maybe it's such a blind spot that you haven't even experienced yet how good you could feel if you went to the gym, got strong. And even if someone doesn't have a value on looking a certain way or optimizing energy, one thing I will say, no one gets off this life scot-free. Even if you're in shape and you're strong, right? Your body breaks down as you get old. If you don't have muscle, you don't have strength. At some point, that's going to cost you, right?
Don't we know it?
Exactly.
I know the same on bone on my right hip from football. Right, you've played, right? Over that overuse. I might look a certain way. I might look similar to how I did in my 20s. And a few years after I first came to this gym, right, my body hasn't changed too much, right?
But the biomechanics.
But the biomechanics, underneath the chassis, it's bone on my hip, and your body can't do the same as what it did.
Of course.
But you adapt. You train
out.
smarter, and you adapt your system. But imagine if you don't have a system to adapt.
Yeah.
I've come across it over and over again, and coincidentally, because I think this is important, and I've actually took a picture of this. Right. Actually, I'm going to get it up now because this reminded me of the harsh truth if you do not look after yourself and you don't move. I saw my nan, bless her, she's like late 80s, sorry. I saw my nan in the hospital, she's late 80s. And bless her, she's struggling, right? And I'm in this hospital and it was a weird experience. I've not been in a hospital like that. She's just recently had a stroke. So, it's quite, it's quite emotional, quite a weird experience, hospital in Nuneaton. And I saw this image on the wall and it said combat pajama, right? For anyone listening to this, you might not be able to see it, but picture the scene. It's like someone in a pajama suit like trying to punch, but it says induced paralysis. Get up, get dressed, get moving. Pajama paralysis refers to the negative physical and psychological effects experienced by patients who spend long periods inactive in their pajamas while hospitalized. This condition can lead to decreased mobility, cognitive changes, and an increased risk of infections, ultimately complicating recovery. Now, I'm not a doctor by any means, but what that is basically getting at, if you are physically stagnant, right, what you don't move, you lose.
Yep.
And you lose your mind. So it's not just about like being strong and how you look.
Yeah.
Every one of us, as we age, if you're not moving, your quality of movement, and by default, your quality of life will be drastically impacted.
You lose it.
And also, if you're just stagnant, and you don't move, whether you lift or not, that's going to affect your mind at some point. You're going to lose your marbles. So there are many things in life you cannot control. You can't control certain diseases that cancers and dementia are so. But what you can control is the way you look after yourself, the way you conduct yourself, the habits you have, the asset that you have.
Yeah.
And then if anything happens, at least your body and your mind is going to be more resilient to deal with these situations and potential health issues a lot better than someone who's just gone, you know what, that isn't important to me.
Gave up.
And then all of a sudden the deeper consequences on that is it affect the people you love.
Of course.
Domino effect.
And affect your people you love. Like one of my drivers now, I got asked earlier, how's things changed from when I first, or my motives, how have my motives changed from when I first came through the doors of the Apollo versus now? I was 16, I'm 41 now. Even though I look a certain way and still want that confidence with my shape, the motives and the emotional driving force were a lot different.
Very different.
Oh, I want to live longer.
How do you...
I don't just want to live longer. I want the quality of movement whilst living longer, and I want to be able to pick up my grandkids if she ever has them. I want to be able to run around. I want to be strong. I can't do that if not. I'm not looking after myself. I'm not staying strong.
Yeah.
How do you feel now coming back to Apollo, seeing it from being just upstairs when you were 16 to the whole shebang that it is now? It's like
so. When I first came to the Apollo, I think Jez was possibly the owner.
It would have been Jez, yeah.
That place was crazy. I mean, it was like an adult youth club. Great memories, and the banter, the vibe, the energy was great. But I think there's a lot of people during that period, and look, there's no judgment on this because I've been fully transparent about the mess I became, when it was just solely about pumping weights and I was lacking purpose. But I look back during that period, it was great memories. The sense of belonging was phenomenal. But there was a lot of people with deep wounds that had these self-destructive behaviour patterns and deep down weren't happy, and it was just solely about the physical.
Yeah.
And fast forward to now, I think what you guys are trying to do from an environment perspective, and even just doing this podcast, having these types of conversation, it's incredible to see the jump in how much value you guys are trying to provide and experience you're trying to provide, and just the quality. So it's amazing to see what you guys have done, because I can imagine that the money, the time, the investment, the late nights, the blood, sweat and tears, especially when you got families yourself, it's very admirable, but it still hasn't lost its core of hard training. I said this earlier as well. My training system has evolved a hell of a lot over the last 20 odd years. With respect, and you guys might still train like this, there's no judgment. I've evolved from the bro splits, the bodybuilding routines, to now having a little bit more variation when we're training of more fitness, more mobility, more Pilates. But that said, the one thing that has to remain consistent is hard training and pushing yourself. Even if you're not doing that to get bigger muscles, which I can care less if I've got bigger arms now. I'm doing it from a mental strength perspective, because I know what that gives me back in business. I know who it helps me become in any situation I'm faced with as a father and a partner. But the one thing you guys have done great, and I think any great gym has to do, is create an environment that when you walk through the door, you feel like you have to work hard. A great gym and a great environment which you guys have created that will give you 20% more motivation to train harder than if you go to a gym that is totally uninspiring and it's flat.
Already on
and
the
then
back
when you
foot.
come through the door, you're looked at as just a number and a transaction.
It's like a natural pre-workout.
100%. It
Walk
can
up
make
the
a
stairs.
massive difference because if we look at environment, there's a couple of different types of environment. You've got your social connections and your peer group, basically the people you spend time with on a day-to-day basis and socially. That can have a massive impact on your behavior. But then you have your physical environment. If your physical environment isn't inspiring to train hard or eat well, then that's going to have an impact. So especially in Coventry, what you guys have done is great. And I love the fact that you consistently, even since I came here last, the innovation of better equipment or just the paintings, the quotes. And I said when I come up the stairs, you shared with me the I am statements. We spoke a little bit about identity on today's podcast, right? I am statements are monstrous because the word identity can be quite confusing for a lot of people. And where do I start? Because people they might go, who am I? And for many people, I've said this before, if you ask someone who they are, they say, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, or I am a doctor, I'm a dentist. Okay, that's your professional identity. Take that away, who are you? And then they might go, I'm a father, I'm a husband. Okay, take that away from me, who are you? That's when you really get to the core of who you are. And that subconsciously, if you're not aware of that, will be driving everything you do from your habits and behavior.
100%.
Because your identity is nothing but a bunch of beliefs about who you are and who you believe others perceive you to be, and they drive your habits and behavior, and ultimately how you look, how successful you are, comes down to your behavior and your habits. So you strip that back and go, my beliefs, if that's shaping my identity, the words I am, do some homework on that.
Massive.
Literally, get a piece of paper, write the words I am, finish the sentences,
I keep going.
right? And don't finish those sentences when you're trying to identify who you actually are. Don't write those sentences based on what you think other people or who you think other people think you are. Write them down right now from the heart of who you actually see yourself as right now. And if there's when you're doing that exercise of, sorry, let me just say this properly because I think it's so important. If you're unsure of who you are and you want to become an even better person, healthier person, whatever it is, write the words I am, finish them with who you currently see yourself as. Go through that list. How many do you believe make you feel good and are aligned to your genuine, authentic self? And then how many are you not totally content with? So for some people, they'll have a negative perception of themselves as I am fat, I am a loser, I am not enough. If you don't like the feeling of any of those I am statements, you have a beautiful opportunity to identify that. Ask yourself, is it true? Can I do something about it? And is there evidence in my life that, for example, if you've labeled yourself someone who is inconsistent, look back to a period of your life where you were consistent and who did you need to be in that given moment? And like we said before, if you've done it once, you've done it again. And then write your dream list of, if you couldn't fail, who would you be?
Who do you want to be?
I am. And then once you've got clear on the identity of who you're trying to become, what beliefs, what habits do you need to start layering the cake with to become that person? And that's where the power coming down to environment is. Some people might go, I need help with this. Or if you don't know what you need to do, what beliefs, what habits you need to hardwire into yourself to become that person, look at someone in your life who you look up to who has those habits and behavior, lean on them, or at least mirror what they do, mirror what they say. And that might have some friction at first, but at least start. You need to establish a habit before you optimize a habit. You need to establish a belief before you optimize a belief. And then just keep doing it over and over again. And I think coming full circle, you've gone, how consistent I am. It's who I am. But at some point in my life, I wasn't just born consistent. You just have to start certain behaviors and habits and then just do it over and over again. And eventually it becomes normal.
Figure out.
Exactly. It becomes who you are, what you do, and how you live.
You can take that one step further. So even if you go off like the I am, you can go back and you can just say I. So, and then attach something next to it. It's one of the most like powerful sayings that I always go up is I can, I will, I must. And then I attach because I am an athlete, because I am the one, because I am hungry, whatever. So you can go and say like, I believe I can do this. Then I believe I can do this because I am like that. So there's the Dr. Eric Thomas. He's like he's known as like the hip hop preacher. He lives off that I can, I will, I must. And like when you go into stuff like that and it goes, I can because I've got the ability to do it. I will because I have the willpower. I must. And then it goes, okay, what are your reasons? I must because my wife needs me. I must because my daughter needs me. I must because my son needs me. And then when you go into stuff like that, then that's actually the beginning part of it. So it's okay, cool. I can do it.
Yeah, figuring stuff
And then
out.
that's where like I think it's so important for I actually don't want to call you a coach. I don't believe you're a coach. I think what you're doing in helping, and you're not even business. I know you promote the built to last, and it's not business, but when people see you, like when you walked in and people seen you that haven't seen you for a long time, people seen you that had just seen you on social that know of Kirk. The first thing that the guy says is like, yo, I see your podcast. What you do is amazing. Never met you. You don't even know the guy exists. But the impression that you give of people, the influence that you give off people, and the belief that you give people without even knowing it, I think that's so, so, so good. And you put it across in such a way, whereas I'm the Coventry boy. You're born and bred Coventry. Like, the first 20 minutes of our conversation here was about you in Coventry, around your network, around Dave Smith.
You never forget that. It's part of your soul.
It's you.
Yeah.
But to show people, like, okay, I took the chance. I did it. But I did it for me. Don't worry about your friends, because your friends are always going to be there.
Yeah.
When was the last time, like, you and Dave kick back for a beer every week? You don't see him as much. Is your friend still there? Because the real ones will stay. The real ones will definitely
You merge
stay.
and unmerge, and look, sometimes logistically it's hard to
course it is.
reconnect with everyone when
life.
you're back for a couple of days and stuff. But one thing I'd like to think, where I'm at now, and fingers crossed wherever I go and the impact I make, I'll never change. I'll never change who I am, and
Gotta keep that.
That's why external stuff doesn't really float my boat. I'm not, again, you guys might be into this. Some people, I couldn't give a shit about cars and stuff. I just want to. I love what I do and I want to make a difference. I think all the success generally follows from that. It's impact, and that's why we're very mission led, even in Built to Last. I believe. In fact, I did an exercise with a lot of my clients recently where I'm like, okay, why did you join? What was the tipping point? But more importantly, like, why are you here? And what is the thing that made you invest and trust me as opposed to other people? It was authentic. There's no fluff. There's no bullshit. And above all else, I fucking care.
Yeah.
I care because I know what it's like to have had some great people really, help me through some tough situations. And the people that you really are so grateful for, it's because they cared and give a fuck and said what you needed to hear at a certain moment to help you push through certain scenarios. So listen, always a work in progress, but it's just having not wasted, but felt like I was stuck for longer than I wanted to be stuck during those years from 20 to 26, and certainly I'd say for the whole of my 20s, if I'm honest, deep down. When you've been in that place where you're stuck, or you haven't got the confidence to truly burn the boat and really try and truly fulfill your true potential. Even earlier than that, from the age of 13, there was so much subconscious there where I've turned on Man United, and there's a handicap on your belief systems. And also, like, are you really leaving it all on the table to be a footballer? And I think there was a part where you didn't quite do that when I trained with the first team, because I gave the ball away to Gary McAllister. I remember looking at me like, what the fuck's that? And you folded. So I'd say from the age of 13 up to mid 20s, that's a long time where you just know you're underperforming in some way. And right now at 41, and this is my message to anyone listening to this, it's never too late to change. And don't waste fucking time, because I know what it's like to waste time letting your limiting beliefs hold you back, or you're thinking, what can go? What if it goes wrong? What might happen?
Yeah.
You're fucking learning. You keep moving forward.
Mhm.
But there's nothing worse. And this is what I'm trying to do with anyone in Built to Last or anyone listening to this or anyone I can remotely influence is by them seeing what I do, what I say, and achieve or maybe fail, then come back and then achieve. It's actual evidence. It's not just theory that if Kirk can, I can, because I tell you what, and I'm sure deep down in everyone's heart, they don't want to get to the end of their storybook when they're 80, 90, 100 and go, I regret, I wish, I could, I should.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me is, I'd roll the fucking dice on a better you.
Tony
Because
Robbins has got a saying, divorce your story and tell the truth. Something
Amazing.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Go into that a little bit, and then it's like, divorce your story and live the truth.
Yeah.
You know, people are so bothered about this and the other, like the fear of failure, the fear of people, what they're thinking. You know, oh, I'm going to walk into the gym and someone's going to think this of me. So what? You won't know the person.
There's always someone, listen, and listen, especially being in Dubai now, let me tell you this, there's always someone who's in better shape, got more money,
Yeah, Dubai,
better
yeah,
looking, whatever your
course,
perception
yeah.
is, got a bigger car, got a bigger house. There's always someone who has something
Yeah, of course.
that is important to you that gives you a new perspective and goes, he's got another gear than me. You know?
Dubai's mad, isn't it?
So I'd rather be in an environment like that where someone stretches your capabilities, as long as it's from a good place, internally from yourself, than you're just not tested or you're not testing yourself. It's no one wants to live with regret, and especially look, people from Coventry. Like I love it with all my heart, but there can still be like a small-minded mentality because this is how things were. That's how things have to be. You know, just put yourself out there. Be brave. Like you guys out there. I don't know any of the gym in Coventry that's put themselves out there for a podcast and adding value. There might not be nothing immediately that comes from this, but you're just trying to help more people, right?
Simple.
Give them more perspective, and
and
this is where people need to put themselves in these environments. So
we appreciate it. Yeah, let's go.
Appreciate
Listen.
it. Congratulations on Gigi.
yeah, no, great
Gigi.
work with the gym guys, and I'll see you next time.
Appreciate you, boy. Thank you, brother.
All good.
Love you, bro.